Whether you're engaging in a complex discussion or just general banter, it's all about respect. The intellectual level that you operate on is highly influenced by your surroundings, the conversations you have, and the people you interact with. When we expose ourselves to environments which challenge us, we naturally sharpen our thinking and improve our communication skills. Because the people you're surrounded by, the people you most engage with, they highly influence the way you see the world. This either adds value and sharpens your intellect, your ability to unpack and handle complex conversations, or perhaps doesn't. And for this reason, stepping outside of your comfort zone is essential to personal growth. For example, have you ever heard someone say that God spoke to them? Or have you ever got into a conversation with somebody about whether prayer actually works? And then the whole conversation just spiraled into a mess. Okay, let me break it down. Person 1 says, prayer helps people to find meaning, peace, and focus. And then in response, the other person says, so you're saying prayer is like a magic spell that fixes everything? Now here's the problem. That is not what the person said. When you exaggerate an argument, that doesn't necessarily make what the person said wrong. And that's what's known as the straw man. It's an abuse of a logical fallacy. No, the person didn't say that prayer is a magic spell that fixes everything. What they said was, prayer helps people to find peace and focus. And that's it. When it comes to whether or not God communicates with people, when a person says that, I believe that God communicates with people in different ways. And then the other person says in response, oh, so what you're saying is that God just whispers in your ear. Out of all the people on the planet, God chose you to whisper in your ear, but that was not what was said. Remember, the person just said, I believe God communicates with people in different ways. And that's another example of how people use the straw man, an abuse of a logical fallacy, to form an attack. Can you see where I'm going with this? Okay, so here's another example. A false dilemma, black and white thinking. A person may say, prayer either works 100% of the time or it's completely useless. Problem here is that prayer may have different emotional and psychological benefits, even if it doesn't change the circumstances. You see where I'm going with this? Black and white thinking, taking what somebody says and only giving them two options, or an extreme option, as the outcome of what they've said. The person didn't say prayer works 100% of the time. Even if prayer doesn't work 100% of the time, that doesn't mean the act of prayer has no benefit. Just because I don't believe in prayer, that doesn't give me the right to disrespect people who do. That doesn't give me the right to dismiss the emotional and psychological value that prayer gives so many people. Even if prayer doesn't change anything in those people's lives, that doesn't give me the right to dismiss or disrespect the value of prayer to those people who do believe in it. Can you see where I'm going? That's what's known as black and white thinking. For example, when a person may say, you only believe in prayer because you've been brainwashed by religion. Problem with comments like that is, the reality is, even if somebody has indeed been brainwashed by religion, their whole life, their whole upbringing has been focused on religious belief. That doesn't mean they don't have a valid point to make. That doesn't mean what they have to say about prayer doesn't add a valid contribution. And that doesn't give anybody the right to dismiss, shut down, or undermine their belief in that. It doesn't make them wrong. Even if they have been brainwashed by religion, that doesn't mean they're necessarily wrong. Shutting down the conversation using that type of argument is known as the Latin term ad hominem. Rather than dealing with the issue, the meaning of prayer, they attack the person by suggesting that they've been brainwashed by religion that invalidates their point of view. It doesn't work that way. That doesn't mean what they're saying is wrong. It doesn't mean they don't have any value. It purely means their point of view is different, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that's what speaks to the different levels of intellect. Depending on who you surround yourself with and the type of conversations you engage with, people you surround yourself with, and the environments you expose yourself to, influence where you see the world. The levels that people operate on directly shape how they handle such complex conversations. Depending on the intellectual level that they operate from, they will attack the person instead of debating the issue. Another example is the appeal to authority. This is when somebody uses a respected authority, I don't know, like a famous person or somebody with high credentials. Someone famous has said it, so that makes it true. Or someone with authority has said it, the president said it, the prime minister said it, or a famous actor said it, so that makes it true. I don't know, perhaps you hear Denzel talking about his relationship with God or the power of prayer, and because he said it, that makes it true. Again, that's an abuse of a logical fallacy. It's what's known as the appeal to authority. Just because someone famous said it, that doesn't make it true. Whatever it is you believe, no matter what it is on any topic, it could be religion, it could be society, it could be taxes, finance, whatever it is, it needs more than just a famous person's approval to make it true. Do you understand where I'm going? And that's how the appeal to authority works. People will use the fact that someone famous or someone notable or somebody who is highly respected in the field has endorsed that idea. Remember, in advertising, they use famous celebrities to endorse all types of products. That doesn't mean those products are good for you just because a good-looking famous person is now advertising this brand of coffee. Advertising, PR, media, they use famous celebrities all the time to endorse products because they understand the power of appeal to authority. Just because a famous person said it, just because a respected person said it, it doesn't make it true. An example is when people use the conclusion or the outcome as the evidence. That's known as circular reasoning. And it works like this. Someone might say something like, prayer works because God answers prayers. The problem with that is, it's not enough. You're just repeating the claim. You need to explain how and why it works in order to make your argument convincing or persuasive or even anywhere near factual. You need to expand your argument. Just by repeating the claim doesn't make it true. Can you see where I'm going? You need to explain how and why it works. It's the same when somebody claims that I know that God speaks to me because I can feel it. The problem is, again, that's just repeating the same claim. You need to explain how and why it works. It doesn't strengthen your argument just by saying, well, because I know he does, or because I feel like it. Unfortunately, that's not good enough. To make a solid argument, it's not strong enough. Just because we think or feel something doesn't actually mean it's factual, based in reality. Okay, it's just a feeling, that's all it is. No disrespect, it's valid. However, it doesn't strengthen your argument. You need to show how and why it works. If it's just a feeling, that's all it is. And that doesn't strengthen your argument. So it's better to state, unless you've got a solid reasoning and you can explore the how and the why. Otherwise, it's just a feeling. And again, this all speaks back to my original point at the top of the video about the intellectual circles that you expose yourself to. The more you expose yourself to deep thinkers, the more you expose yourself to people who think critically. This has a direct impact on how you shape the world and how you handle complex conversations. The more you're willing to step outside of your comfort zone and explore different ways of seeing things, this will strengthen your argument. This will strengthen the way you handle complex conversations, and it just sharpens your thinking, and you become a way more articulate how you unpack complex conversations. And in this way, you avoid abusing what's known as logical fallacies. I hope you found this video useful. Until the next time, take care. I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments.